Hello guys, so welcome to another video. So yes, I'm sure we would be on data modeling by now, and I'm sure that if you're watching this video now, you would have gone through the introduction to data modeling that Clara made, right? And I'm sure by now you would have a little bit of understanding what data modeling means, right? But in this video, we'll just cover the basics of transforming our conceptual data modeling or bringing our conceptual data modeling into life, into Power BI, right? What we did in our previous video, right, where we created our conceptual data modeling from scratch, right, where we broke down our guided project, the police data set, the crime data set, and we got different tables, right? We want to see how we can replicate it on Power BI, right, which will in turn help us in our data modeling, which we just watched the video before this, right, coming from our beautiful Clara. So now I'm sure once again that by now, if you are following the process, you are supposed to have these two data sets called crime data set and then our geodata, right? And I'm sure that you would have done the transformations, the little transformations that was asked of us, right, to create year, to create quarter year column and the rest, right? So I'm hoping that everybody watching this video would have these two data sets, and all the transformation that was done on it must have been done before you watch this record or this video. Now, let's go back. Let's continue from where we stopped. Remember, in our conceptual data modeling class, we spoke about how we arrived to this, right? We spoke about the idea of how we got to this extent, right? Where we got our fact table, right, or the main crime data set that we downloaded, and then we splitted everything to get this, and we explained everything from the previous video. I'm sure that if you don't understand it, please watch the recording or the video on the classroom that speaks to conceptual data modeling, so you know how we got to this stage. Now, how do we now replicate all this, right, in our Power BI desktop, right? How do we make this? Remember, we just have these two data sets, right? Now let me go to transform data so we can be able to see this data set. So yes, so remember we have, come on, let me refresh. So remember we have these two data sets, and remember why we did this, why we unable load for all this. So we have the geo data set and then the crime data set, where if you are following the process, right, you must have gotten these new columns, the year, the quarter year, and then your financial month. Now, it's very important. Now, because we want to do our data modeling, and what is a data model? A data model is, or data modeling is basically creating relationships between tables, right, using primary key and foreign key. That is the basic knowledge about data modeling. Let me explain in a layman terms. A data model is that's just it, right? When you want to connect two or more tables using a primary key and a foreign key. So in this sense, we have our two data sets, right? The geo data set and then the crime data set that we've worked on, that we've transformed, and we feel that everything is okay, right? But now, because due to data modeling, we want to be able to connect different tables, right? And we realize that out of these two tables, we can have extra tables, right? We can have extra dimension tables. So we want to be able to have a fact table and a dimension table to be connected, right, with the help of primary keys and foreign keys. Now, because of that concept, we came to the conclusion that we need to have our crime fact table in our Power BI desktop our date dimension table separately, our location dimension table separately, offense dimension table separately. Now let's see how we can do that. So all this I've been saying is just basically introduction, right? So that everybody that has not done this, that has not gotten to this extent, would watch the conceptual modeling or conceptual data modeling video. So now let's start. So we have this, we head over to our Power Query, and we all saw how I got to my Power Query from the Power BI desktop. I went to Transform tab. Let me do that again. Close. Yeah, I went to my Transform tab, right? Transform tab, and then I went to Transform Data. So it takes me back to my Power Query editor. Now, first thing first, right? First things first. Now let's work on our geodata. All right. So from our geodata, we want to be able to have our location dimension table where everything speaks to having these 4 columns and this table. Remember the condition of a dimension table, and the table's entries must be unique. Everything must speak to one ONS code. All right. So how do we do that? So we come here. This is our data set, right? That houses the region or the geodata set or the geodata. We right click. While we right clicking, so that we'll have like a duplicate. We'll have a duplicate table, right? So that any changes we want to effect, we'll effect it on the duplicated table. So once we right click and then we click on duplicate, so we can name this. I can double click or I can come here and name it. So let me double click and do location dimension. So we are trying to replicate what we did here, right? Now we are trying to source to get our location dimension off our geodata set. So location dimension, so remember it will still be the same thing. All the entries will be the same thing as our geodata, right? So I would come and I will say, okay, this is my location dimension. What is one of the conditions? One of the conditions is that we must have unique entries. We must not have repetitions of our primary key. And in this sense, our primary key, we've seen from our data dictionary that the primary key in this table is our ONS code, right? Please head back to your data dictionary to understand what this ONS code means. So for me to do this, so let me hold and control. I like moving my primary key column to the left. So hold your control key and double click and drag. I'm sorry, I don't know why it does not. Oh, I'm selecting 2 columns, that's why, sorry. Let me just select this and hold your control and move it. Yeah. So we have our ONS column on the left hand side, right? We know that this is our primary key. Now, how do we make this table unique? Right? How do we make it devoid of duplicated entries? Right? So that it will satisfy our location dimension table. Remember, we are trying to just have these 4 columns in this table, right? We already have it. We already have our ONS code CSP name, right? ONS code CSP name, and then we have first name region, right? First name region. Now we are good with the columns that we have, right? But now the other conditions to make this table a dimension table, right, is to make every record unique. So for we to do that, right, for now, just flow with me and stay with me. You would understand why I'm using the first name, right? So for me to do that, I'll click on this and I'll say I want to remove duplicate using my first name, right? So all these entries that I'm seeing which year, I want to just remove them. I want to just have only one unique which year, right? I would click this, right, and then let's right click. So you see remove duplicates, right? So you can use this method. If you don't want to use this method, you can come to transform. You see an option where you can also remove duplicates, right? Let's click this. Let's see. I think it's on our home tab. Yes, I'm just missing something. Yup, it should be here. Yeah. So you have various methods, right? You can either just click on the column that you want to use to remove duplicate, right click, and then you click on remove duplicate, or you click on this same column that you want to use to remove the duplicate entries in that column, and then you come to remove rows, you see remove duplicates, right? So once I click on this, watch what will happen. See, now I've removed duplicates, right? Notice that I have unique entries of my first name, right? I don't want repetition of my first name, right? I want unique entry. So, and if you check the meaning of this first name on your data dictionary, right, on your crime dataset data dictionary that was provided for us, you'd see that this first name is just like, you know how police stations in Nigeria is where you have a location where you have like let's say Ikoyi police station or Ikoyi General Police Station. There are some areas, right? There are some postal areas underneath the Ikoyi Central Station or the Ikoyi General Police Station, right? So that is what this first name means, right? I hope I'm right. I think yes, first name is just like your Ikoyi Police Station. Then your CSP name are like the other smaller police stations under your Ikoyi police station. I hope that makes sense. So if you have like a general police station in an area, you have other little police stations around it, and that is what CSP name means. That is what the CSP name column houses, right? I hope that explains this well. But if you don't really understand, go to your data dictionary. You would understand these column names. It's very, very important that you understand your column names before you start doing anything. Yeah, so we've done that. So I can categorically say I'm okay with this location dimension table, right? Judging by this, we have our ONS code primary key, right? ONS code primary key, CSP name, first name, region, and we've been able to remove duplicate. So I'm sure that we don't have a duplicated row in this table. So I'm fine with this, right? So the next table that we need to also transform and get out is our offense dimension table, right? And where do we have anything offense code, offense description, and offense group is all located in our crime data set, right? So we'll come here and also we'll do the same thing we did initially for our geodata. I'll duplicate. So I can call this, so instead of coming here, let's do the second method. Come here. So we can call this offense dimension, right? So remember why we are doing this. We want to be able to have different dimension tables that will aid us when we want to model this data. So stay with me on that. So now, offense dimension, what columns did we say we need? We need the offense code, we need the offense description, offense group, offense subgroup, right? So any other column that does not have these names, we need to delete them. So financial year, we don't need it. So for you to do this, just hold your control key, tap this, tap on one column, tap the second column. So you are selecting other columns. You're selecting the columns that you want to remove. Hold your control key, tap. This is not needed, right? We don't have first name here. So I'll go. So we have offense description, right? Yes, we need this in our offense dimension table. So we will not remove this column. We need offense group. We need offense subgroup as well. We need offense code definitely because it's our primary key. Do we need number of offense? No, I'm not sure we included it. Yeah, we don't need number of offense. So we can click on this. We don't need it. Do we need year? No. We don't need quarter year. We don't need the financial month. So after selecting this, you can come to your home tab again and say remove columns, or you right click. You will see right click. Yeah, you right click on the header names, right? You see removed columns, or you come to your home tab, you come to remove column. Click on this drop down. It gives you remove other columns that are not selected. No, we want to remove the columns that are selected, right? Once I tap on remove columns, it removes all the columns that were selected, right? So now we've been able to do what? We've been able to have the columns that we need. Remember when we were doing our location dimension, right? We did not delete any column because we just had all the columns that we need. based off of our conceptual modeling that we did, right? But in this sense, we had to remove other columns when we use our crime data set, right? Because we are not interested to have those columns in our offense dimension table, right? So now we are good with the columns. We have offense code, offense description, offense group, offense subgroup, offense code, offense subgroup, group, and offense description. Fine. So let's move this again. So double click and drag. So you don't need to even hold your control key, just double click on the header name and drag. Now we satisfy the first condition, right? We now have the columns that we want in this dimension table. But now there's a second condition that we've not satisfied, right? There's a second condition that we've not been able to satisfy. So the second condition is basically to remove duplicate, right? Remember, your dimension table must have unique entries. You must have unique records. We don't want AF to be in another place, right? We don't want this AF to appear in another place here in this dimension table. But in our crime data set, no problem. It can appear how many times you want to appear, right? But when you have your dimension table, when you're trying to create a dimension table that speaks to offense, all records must be unique, right? If an offense code is AF, it must be AF once. We don't want to see AF repeated again, right? So for we to do that, we would have to come to our offense code, right click, and then remove duplicates. This is the second method, right? Once I click on remove duplicates, so it checks for duplicates, and then notice the steps. It's telling us removed duplicates. So it has done what I want it to do. It's been able to convert this table now to have unique entries of our offense code, which is what we want, right? So yes, so I think we are good to go on our offense dimension table. So next thing that we need to do is our date dimension table, right? And let us look at what table houses this date. If we come to your geodata, right, the first geodata that we have, or rather that we had, we don't have dates here. So let's go to our crime data sets. So I think we have every column that we need here as regards date. So we need to do what we did initially to delete columns, or first of all, we need to do what? We need to duplicate this again, right? So right click, duplicate, right? And then as usual, we name this date dimension because we want everything that relates to date to be in this table. Click on your enter. Then anything that does not relate to date will delete, right? So first name does not relate to date. Hold your control and tap. Offense description, no. Offense group, no. We don't need it in this our date dimension. Offense subgroup, we don't need it. Offense code, we don't need it. The number of offense, we don't need it. But we need a year, quarter year, financial month, right? Oh wow, I selected financial year, so you need to be very careful. So let's unselect financial year because we need it, right? So we don't need first name, offense description, offense group, offense subgroup, and yeah, we are good to go, right? So I can come here and right click and then remove columns. Yes, financial year, financial quarter. So let's check, let's be sure our conceptual data model that we designed has quarter year as the primary key. Let's check if we have quarter year now. Yes, this is it. Double click, move it to the left hand side, so it will be your quarter year. Then next column should be financial year, we have it. Next column should be financial quarter, we have it. Next column should be year, we have it. And last column should be what? Quarter month, which is I think financial month, right? We have it. So yes, we are good to go with this, but what is remaining, I think we need to make this unique, right? We need to remove duplicates. So notice that there are several occurrences of quarter 1 2012, quarter 1 2012, quarter 1 2012. So we just want only unique value of quarter 1 2012 in this sheet. It can be repeated in the crime data set sheet, no problem. But in this dimension, date dimension sheet or date dimension table, we just want a unique entry of our primary key. So we just want to see only quarter 1 2012 once in one record, and every information about quarter 1 2012 will be given to us in one record. We don't want it repeated. If you notice it's repeated here, let's try something so everybody will be clear. Let me filter this and then let me click on just one of our quarter and then year. Let's see. So if I click here, watch quarter 1 2012, right? Watch how many entries would show. See, we have a lot of quarter 1 2012, and everything still describes the same thing, right? Financial year is telling us that here is 2012 2013. Financial quarter is telling us it is 1, right? Year 2012. The financial month, since it is the first quarter of 2012-2013, based on our data dictionary, it will be April, June, right? So it's repetitive here, right? So we want to be able to remove all this repetition and just have a unique entry for quarter 1 2012, quarter 2 2012, quarter 3 2012. So that's basically what we want to do. So I'll go and then load more. So guys, what we are trying to do is just to have this data model. We want to be able to replicate everything we did in our rough work conceptual data model live in our Power BI desktop, and we've been able to do for location dimension, we've done for offense dimension. Now we are working on this. So let's select all again and then we'll click on OK. So now that we understand that we need to remove duplicate, we right click and then we'll say remove duplicate. It's working. Yes, notice that it has been able to remove duplicates. Why? We now have one record of quarter 1 2012. So your quarter 1, right, in 2012 is unique. If I say quarter 1 2012, based on our data dictionary, I just know that the month in quarter 1 2012 would be April to June, right? If I say quarter 2 2012, it's not going to repeat again. Even if I say quarter 2 2013, quarter 2 2013 is different from quarter 2 2012, right? The years are different. So you see that it is unique. That's why we made this quarter year our primary key, right? So if I do the same thing I did initially, where I selected only quarter 1 2012, and we had a lot of distributions, a lot of entries, watch what will happen now. We've been able to remove duplicates. See, we just have only one unique entry telling us what quarter 1 2012 speaks to. Other columns here are descriptive of our primary key. So it's telling us, what it means when you see quarter 1/2012. It means that the financial year will be 2012-13. It means that the financial quarter will be 1. It means that the year that you're considering will be 2012. And it means that the month in question will be April to June. You see, you've been able to have information about your primary key, a unique record. So that's what we've been trying to explain. Right? I hope this is making sense. So I think we are good to go on our date dimension table. I think we are good to go. So let's cross check. So date quarter year primary key, we have it. Quarter year primary key. Financial year next column. Financial year, we're good. Financial quarter, we're good. Year, we're good. Then financial month, quarter month, we are good. So the next thing that we want to do is our crime data set. Our crime data set. So now this is going to be, just stay with me and be open-minded, right? Now this is what is guiding us, our crime fact table basically. And remember, in our previous video where we spoke about conceptual data modeling, we explained what fact tables are, right? I showed everybody an example using a sales fact table where I said every other keys, primary keys, will be there as foreign key, and then it has numerical, it will definitely have a numerical column and other measurable columns, right? And also the example we did when we had course and students, right? When we were trying to separate that, we had other primary keys, the course ID, the student ID, and then assignment, and then I think number of scores. Yes, in our previous example where we raised we were speaking to conceptual data model. So now for us to have our fact table, we would let's go back to so let me duplicate this, right? So I like duplicating it so that we'll have our original data set, right? In case. So duplicate again. So we can now call this crime fact, right? Since we've been calling, so this is our crime facts table, right? Crime facts. So click on it. Now, what do we have in our fact table? We have the first name, we have offense code, we have quarter year, ONS code, and then number of offense. So let's go. So we don't need this in our fact table, right? Because we have it already in our date dimension. So we select it. We don't need this also. We also have it in our date dimension. We select it. We want to remove these columns. But hey, this description in our fact table says we need our first name because we don't have it anywhere else. So we leave our first name. Offense description, we have it in our offense dimension. We'll remove it. That's what I'm selecting. I'll select this as well because we have it, everything here, this information, description, group, subgroup of offense, we have it in our offense dimension table. And also we will not remove our offense code, right? Because it says that we need it as the foreign key here so that it will help us with our data model when we want to connect. See? So you need to be careful. So number of offense, I think we also need it in our description here. We need the number of offense column. So fine, we'll leave it. So here, I think we'll remove it. We don't have it here. All right. Then quarter year, I think we'll need it because it's a foreign key here. Yes, quarter year, we'll leave it. Then financial months, we don't need it. All right. So let's delete these columns that we've selected. Let's be sure. Let me go back and check. First name, yeah. So yes, we are good. Right click, remove columns. Now we have first name. Let's check. First name correct. We have offense code. Offense code correct. We have we have quarter year. Quarter year correct. Then we have number of offense. Number of offenses correct, but hey, we don't have the ONS code. See, we don't have this ONS code in this sheet now. How do we do it? But we know that we have it in where we have it in our date dimension table. You see, we know that we have what? We have the ONS code sitting pretty in our location dimension table. So now what do we do? How do we introduce ONS code to our crime fact table? Right? So what we'll do is, so before doing that, right? Before what we did just now, before doing it, right? I would advise that before we start removing column, right? Before creating duplicate of this that gave us crime fact, let us first of all merge our crime data set with our location data dimension table that we created so that we implement our ONS code here, and then we can now start removing columns. So let's delete this. I hope that makes sense. Let me come again. Because now we want to introduce ONS code in our crime fact table, right? Instead of duplicating this first and then removing columns to give us our crime fact table, why not merge these two tables first, right? And then when we merge these two tables and introduce this ONS code in this, I know what will happen. Instead of doing that, right? So let me delete this. Stay with me. Let's delete this crime fact table that we just created. So we'll come back here. This is our main. Remember, these are two original data sets, right? I'll come here, I'll duplicate. Right? It's giving me crime data set 2, right? Now, because I want my ONS code to be visible here, because if you notice, we don't have ONS code here, right? We don't have it here. So now what we'll do is we will merge these two columns together. Now watch, how do we merge? Click here, and then I'll go to home, Then we have merge. So when you say merge queries as new, it means that when you merge two tables together, you want a new result table. You want a new table called what you want to call it. But if you say merge queries, it means that once you merge these two tables, location dimension table that is unique, that has unique entries, and then you merge it with this, it would automatically bring the new changes to this data set or to this data set. It will not create a new table, right? So now, because I want to create a new table when I'm done merging these two columns, or rather these two tables, and how did I get this client data set to? I duplicated this so that will not affect any change in our original data set should in case we need it, just like as I needed it now when I deleted the previous client fact table. You see? So we duplicated this, and then we want to merge this one that we've worked on, our dimension table that has the ONS code unique. We want to merge it with this. So now, for me to merge, I went to my merge queries, merge query as new. So it's telling me this is your location dimension table, right? Then what table do you want to merge? I want to merge this one, the duplicated version of this. Click on it. So what would you use to merge? Right? What do you want to use? What are the common columns you want to use to merge? You click this, and then I want to use the first name. Now, this is the reason why I said we want to use the first name to when we started off, right? You know, when we removed duplicates, we use this first name to remove duplicates instead of our primary key column, right? Because of this merging. So once I click here and I click here, right? Now it's going to tell me the kind of merging that he wants to do, the kind of join that he wants to do. So saying that he wants to join left outer join all from the first matching the second. So everything from the first table that is unique, it will join it based on everything that he sees here that is unique, right? So everything from the first, right? Everything from the first column matched, or instead of doing this, let us make our location, let us make this crime data set to be the first table, and then this to be the second table. Yes, let's see. The same first name, let's see. Yes, this is what I want. This is what I want, right? So I want it to merge everything here with this, right? So it matches close to this figure. That is basically what I want. So left outer join means that it will match this table. It will bring this table out back. Every entry from your left table. This is our left table. When you do your SQL, you understand these differences, left and right. So this one here is our left table. This is our right table, right? So it's saying left outer. So it means that it will bring all records of our left table, right? And then it goes to right to merge them based on first name. Even if there are some first name that is not included in our left table, it's going to just bring everything, every entry from our left table regardless, right? After selecting the unique ones, after selecting the common first names, after joining or merging the common first names rows, it will now bring the remainder of this left table, even if they are not common with this second table. That's what it means. Once I click on OK, see, that's giving me a new table. Remember when I said merge query as new would give you a new table, right? That's giving me a new table. I can call this, now I can call it my crime fact. Why are we doing this, guys, right? It's just to introduce the ONS code here. That's why we are merging, right? It's very important that you understand. So now watch. Yes, you see? So now we've been able to merge and bring our location table here. So let's click here. See? So once I click on that, it's telling me to expand or aggregate. So I basically don't need all this other region, first name, CSP name. What I'm interested in is my ONS code to appear in this crime fact table, right? So I'll just come, select, and then I'll click on ONS code. That's basically the column I need here, because we have all this in our location dimension table. So I'll come here and click on OK. See? And then it populates. So what we'll do is because this is a text data type, which is fine, we'll rename this ONS code. So we'll come and say we are having null values, right? Right click and then you say replace values. So let's replace our null value to not available. So these are why we have null values, is like we don't have a code for, there are some CSP names or there are some areas that don't have an ONS code. That's why you are seeing null, right? They don't have a just like they don't have a registration number, they don't have a unique code that describes that area. That's why you are seeing null. So instead of leaving it as null, we can put not available or not specified or not whatever, right? So let's fix NA. Anybody that sees NA understands that it means that it's not available, right? Or you can still leave your own as not available. It depends on you, right? It depends on you. But I would like NA, yeah. Or you can fix it as NA01. It depends on you, right? You understand why you are doing this. So let's leave it as NA. Click on OK. See, my entries will be 100% valid. Initially it was 86% and 14%, right? Empty. But now we have it as 100%. So we are good to go. So we've been able to introduce ONS code in our main crime data set by merging. Remember, we merged this one after doing the duplicate of this to give us crime data set 2. And then we merged location and crime data set 2, right? Now we can now start doing what we were doing initially. So first name, we go, right? We don't need our financial year column. We don't need our financial quarter. We need our first name. We don't need this. We don't need this. We don't need this. We need our offense code because it's a foreign key here. We need our number of offense, yes. We don't need our year. We need our quarter year is a foreign key here. We don't need our financial month, right? We need our ONS code, definitely. So I'll right click and then remove columns. Now let's arrange this as it's supposed to be. Right, crime fact, first name first, offense code. Well, what we'll do is let's fix all the codes. The primary key first. This is a primary key, or rather this is a foreign key, right? Because it's in another land. So let's fix all the foreign keys here, and then yes, we have others. So let's cross check. So we have first name. These are first name, right? We have offense code. This is offense code. We have quarter year. This is quarter year. We have ONS code now. Remember how we got ONS code here? We have ONS code. And then we have number of offenses. Yep, we have number of offenses. So with this, we've been able to do what? We've been able to transform. We've been able to normalize. Yes, that's the word. We've been able to normalize our data, our tables, to be in the form of fact table and dimension tables. Remember when we started off, we just had 2 tables that we transformed initially, right? Geodata and crime data sets. But now we've been able to develop and normalize these 2 data sets to give us individual tables, right? Location dimension table that speaks to location, offense dimension table that speaks to all the offenses and the subgroups, date dimension that speaks to all the year, the quarter year, the financial month, everything, and then our main crime fact table that houses the primary keys of us this table, and then numerical column, right, which is basically number of offense, right, and then a column that is descriptive as well, right, but is not located in other dimension tables, right. So now with this, we basically don't need this. We don't need this. We don't need this. These are the 4 tables that we need: location dimension, offense dimension, date dimension, and crime fact table, right? So we'll do this, what we've been doing initially, right click and then enable load, right, so that when we want to load this data set, it will not give us issues. Click on this as well, we'll enable load, right, continue, then you come here, crime data set 2. Please don't delete any of this. If you delete this, it's going to affect your crime fact table because you merge these 2 tables to give you this. So please just enable low, don't delete any. Right? Yep. So we have all these tables, all these queries that are italicized English, that are italicized will not be loaded to your Power BI desktop. Right? These are the tables that we need. Location dimension table, offense, date, and then crime fact. And everybody has seen how we developed it, right? So you see why it's very important that you know how to model data, you know how to normalize different tables to give you different dimensions, smaller tables, and then a general fact table, so that it can help with your modeling of data. So with this, we can close and apply. Once you close and apply, yes. Let's see. Let's wait. Yes. You see, notice that we don't have other tables coming in. We just have location, offense, date, and then crime fact. What we have here, right? These 4 tables, right? It's creating everything. Yes, we are good to go. Right? You see, notice that all tables, the previous 2 tables that we had, or the 2 queries, or the 2 tables, yes, that we had, are now gone. These are now the newly developed tables that we normalized ourselves with Power BI query, or rather Power Query. Right? Now let's go to our model view. Right, remember, data modeling is the process of you creating relationships between tables with the help of your primary key and your foreign key. Right? Now these are our tables. These are fact table. These are dimension smaller tables, right? Now remember, we are still using this. Right? Our fact table is going to be in the middle. Right? I'll make this. So notice the relationship type. Right? So we'll speak about this, and I'm sure that Clara has already done justice to this. We have one to many, right? So in this sense, what is connecting here is first name, but I don't want it. I want to connect this by ONS code, right? So I'll delete this relationship, right click, delete, right? So we call this relationship types. There are one to many, there are many to many, there are many to one, right? But the usual case is supposed to be one to many relationship, right? So I'm going to drag this. I want to drag. So remember, data modeling is when you try to create relationship between 2 tables or 3 tables or 4 tables with the help of what? Primary key and foreign key. So in this case, in this table, ONS code is the primary key. I'll drag it, right, to the ONS code, which is a foreign key in the fact table. I'll create that relationship. You see? It is now one to many, right? 1, it means that this table is unique. There's no duplicated row for the ONS code. But in this many, it means that ONS code here is multiple. Like you can have duplicated values of ONS code in this table, right? Let's do the same thing here. Quarter year. Remember that our date dimension, the primary key is quarter year, right? But in our fact table, it is the foreign key. So let's create that relationship as well. So quarter year, we drag it. This is our quarter year, right? See, Power BI has connected it one to many, so it's flowing one to many. So your date dimension is unique, no duplicated value. Remember when we did it first quarter of 2012, no duplicated value of our quarter year. But in this table, it can occur a lot of times. It can be duplicated, no problem. All right. So let's create that relationship here as well. You see why data modeling is very important. You need to break down your tables to be able to model it this way, right? Very important. Now, what is connecting? How are we going to connect these 2 tables, right? With the help of our primary key and foreign key. But in this sense, offense code is our primary key because it is unique. Remember, we removed duplicate to make this table unique, right? But in this our fact table, offense code is our foreign key, and it will definitely have many occurrences, right? So drag offense code. Instead of dragging, let's try to do the second method of joining. We can come to manage relationship. We come to new. Let's create a new relationship. So instead of dragging, right, this is another way of creating relationship. Comes here. I want to create from my crime fact table with the I think we've done for offense code here. Yeah. And then we want to use our offense dimension table as well with the offense code. See this, the cardinality type exactly. Right, the cardinality type relationship is many to one, which is fine, or one to many, and the filter direction is a single filter direction instead of in both direction. Once I click on this, see, it has established that relationship here. I click on close. Watch what will happen. It will connect. See, it's been able to connect one to many. Remember, initially I've just been dragging, right, dragging and dropping, but now we did it the normal way. Manage relationship. That's created that relationship, right? So in this sense, there's what we call schema types, right? Schema types are structural arrangement of your tables. We have snowflake, we have star schema. But when you are looking at this looks like a star, right? So a star schema is mostly common, right? Where you have dimension tables connected directly to a fact table. That's when you have a star schema. And when your structure is looking like a star. So this is looking like a star, and this is looking like a star, right? So we've been able to do what, guys? We've been able to depict what we did on a rough work in Power BI, right? So with this, you are good to go. If you have this, if you're able to model your data and you have these 4 tables with the right columns, with the right structure, a star schema, then I'm happy that you are on the right track. So watch this video, go over it again, try and get the concept, try and understand why we did this and why we are doing this. And remember that all the things that we did here was just trying to put everything that we did, all the thought process that we did in developing this conceptual model, we brought it to life in Power BI desktop. And how did we do it? Remember, we went to our Power Query to do a lot of data normalization, right? Where we removed some columns, where we removed duplicates, where we merged 2 tables to give us this data model, right? So with that, we've come to the end of this video, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care. Ciao.